In today's video, I want to share with you guys 9 tips on how I reduce costs and save money when traveling. So the first one is to create a budget for yourself. Create a budget and stick to your daily limit, the number that you chose for yourself for each type of expense. Second is food is one of your biggest expenses, so limit food expenses as much as possible. It's one variable cost that you can control. So ways on how I reduce my cost for food is, the first is convenience stores. So for example, in Mexico, there's a lot of convenience stores called hostels. They're almost on every corner or every block. And I get, so from OXXO, I can get instant noodles for $1. So I can survive off of those for that night. I also leverage off of, so the second alternative, the second best option that you can do is leveraging off street food, which costs between $2 to $4 a day. So in Mexico, the street food is like burritos, hot dogs, hamburgers, and of course tacos. You can get a lot of good tacos in Mexico that are delicious, and there's tons of variety of tacos in Mexico. So these cost, so a taco will cost about $2. A hamburger with fries will cost about $3 to $4. Hot dogs, same thing, about $3. So you can, and the meals will fill you up. Like, I mean, if you're super hungry, you can get, I guess, two plates for about $4 to $5. And then, so Monday to Thursday, I try to leverage off of street food and OXXO. I save. It doesn't mean so it doesn't mean that you can't eat at restaurants. I just save eating at restaurants on the weekends. So I try to eat. You know, when you travel, you do have to try out the restaurants that are in that city. So I try to eat out at restaurants between 2 to 3 times a week, and I spend about $15 to $30 each visit. So $15 is, for example, like ramen shops. $15 is essentially for like a bowl of ramen. $10 to $15 is the bowl of ramen. $30, the higher range, is for plates like steak, lobster, more kind of fancier, expensive kind of proteins. And then third, my third tip is to walk as much as possible. So limit your Uber and transportation expenses. So this is why it's so important that you pick your location, the location of your hostel, close to malls, banks, grocery stores, convenience. Sorry, there's like flies just flying around, so I'm like trying to swat it. Grocery stores, convenience stores, and the activities that you intend to do. So you want to limit your Ubers to, for example, when you're first arriving in the new city, or for example, weekend activities where certain meeting spots are farther from where you can walk. So to walk, to maximize walking, you want to first have a checklist. Make sure that you have data, have a SIM card and data, so that you can use Google Maps to help you with walking directions. So that's first. Bring an umbrella to protect yourself from the sun as well as the rain. Have sunglasses on you to wear if it's too bright outside to protect your eyes. And then fourth is always carry at least one water bottle with you at all times, because you're in a really bad situation if you're let's say you're lost, or you're in a long walking distance back from your hostel and you're dehydrated. So always make sure you have at least one water bottle with you. So my fourth tip is airport transfers. So 90% of the time there will be shuttle buses or some sort of public transportation method that is way more budget friendly, that will kind of transport you from the airport to downtown, or like one of the main zona centrals of that city. I always try to use the airport transfers over. You want, I guess, not to hate on taxis or anything, but I would avoid, for me personally, I avoid using taxis as much as possible. So for example, when I arrive in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, the taxis cost $85 USD. When you can use the shuttle bus service from the airport for 85 Mexican pesos, so that works out to be about $5. So $5 Canadian, or yeah, $5 Canadian or USD, somewhere around there. So $85 taxi for airport to downtown versus $5 using the shuttle bus service. And the one in Cabo is like a purple type of bus. Let me just check the name for you guys. So the purple bus airport transfer that you can use in Cabo is called the Ruta del Desierto bus. And I think it rotates around the airport between 15 to 20 minutes. So right when you leave the airport, I'm getting into specifics, but for anyone who does travel into Cabo, I think it's located near Terminal 1, so just walk around that area. Try to avoid, so anyways, in conclusion, my advice is to avoid taxis. Try to use the airport shuttle service if you can. The second best alternative is using Uber. Uber tends to have better prices than the taxis, and there's an audit trail to it, so there's a more security to it because everything is tracked and documented on that phone app. And then third, sometimes there are private airport transfers. Like for me in Colombia, I use Colombian Buddy for my airport transfer. So those are the three. And then my fifth tip is to budget your data use. So in Mexico, I went with Telcel to get my SIM card and my data. They had a 6 gigabyte plan. So when I say budget your data, I mean so for example, if you bought the 6 gigabyte data plan for 30 days, then you should try to aim to use about 0.2 gigabytes per day. 0.2 gigabytes per day or less. So you want to conserve your data by turning off your cellular when you're not using it. Close all your other applications except for Google Maps. And then in settings, in your, for iPhone, I know that in settings you can turn off data for certain apps. So you want to make sure that you turn off your data for all apps except for the ones that you really need. So for me, I keep on Google Maps, WhatsApp, Gmail, like apps where, for example, I might need to receive communication from, like, for example, the tour company or the hostel or like friends that I'm trying to meet with. And then I would turn off for sure cellular data for apps like YouTube. What else? Any kind of unnecessary apps where you don't need data when you're like walking and exploring. So the only one that comes to mind is YouTube will drain your data like crazy. So you want to make sure that you turn that off. Turn off YouTube data usage for cellular. Only use YouTube when you have Wi-Fi. And then next is, aside from conserving your data, you also want to conserve your phone battery power. So put your phone to sleep when you're not using it. Charge your phone whenever possible. So for example, if you're resting at a coffee shop, and then turn off, and if you're exploring and using your cellular data, you want to turn off Wi-Fi roaming and Bluetooth roaming. Only one should be active, either cellular data or Wi-Fi, not both. Otherwise your phone will be like working to trying to find a signal, and that kind of uses up the battery. And then also close all your other applications except for ones you really need, like for example Google Maps. My sixth tip is to prioritize the use of your foreign transaction fee-free MasterCard whenever possible. Use cash as a last resort to avoid frequently incurring ATM withdrawal fees. And then seventh is try to find, based on my experience, hostels tend to be the cheapest accommodation. So there's three types of stays, right? So hostels, Airbnb, and hotels, right? And sometimes you might actually find hotels to be, in some places there might be promotions where the hotel is on par with the hostel. So you just have to do some quick research to find an accommodation that is reasonably priced. So but most of the time, based on my experience, hostels tend to be the cheapest. But what I wanted to say was, whether it's hostels, Airbnb, or hotels, the two key things you want to keep in mind is price and location. So first, price, to make sure that it's within your budget, and then second is location, so that you can walk to your activities, access banks, laundry services, convenience stores, nightlife, activities, so that you can, like we were saying before, so you can limit your transportation and Uber expenses. You want to maximize the opportunity to walk as much as possible, and when you're walking, you're just able to see and interact with people more, and when you're walking, you're able to explore more rather than when you're stuck in a car and you're just going to the next location. You're not able to kind of freely roam and explore things, right? So then so moving on to number 8 is flight between cities. So two things, right? Sometimes the flight to the next city that you desire can be sometimes expensive. So you want to try two things. First, try alternative cities. So for example, for me, from Cabo, my next location that I wanted was Puerto Vallarta, but the flight from Cabo to Puerto Vallarta is expensive. So what I did was I checked for the next city that I also wanted to visit was Guadalajara. So instead of booking a flight from Cabo to Puerto Vallarta for $90, the flight from Cabo to Guadalajara was only $50. And then you can also check on Google Flights what the price range is from Guadalajara to Puerto Vallarta, because both cities are in proximity. You can check what the flight price is from Guadalajara to Puerto Vallarta, and because they're close in proximity, the price is also cheap too. So you want to do a cost analysis, because essentially what I'm trying to say is from Cabo to Guadalajara is $50, and then Guadalajara to Puerto Vallarta is $40. So in total, that's $90. Versus from Cabo to Puerto Vallarta, which was $90, and then from Puerto Vallarta to Guadalajara is $40, which is a total of $130. So $90 for the first combination, and then the second combination was $130. So this is when you're like wanting to visit multiple cities, you just want to check which combination is cheaper. And then the second way for checking for or saving costs on flights is trying different days. So if you're flexible with when you fly out, so for example, if weekends are ideal, then you want to check what the flight prices are on Saturdays versus what are the flight prices on Sundays. So sometimes maybe Sunday might be cheaper than Saturday, etc. Or if you can also try flying out Friday night. So try different days to see which is the most optimal, most cheapest price. And then my last tip for today for saving costs when traveling is travel carry-on only. It's one of my most favorite tips, because when you do travel, you want to travel light and comfortable, and be able to quickly assemble your equipment or tools or whatever you need as quickly as possible. So the three factors is carry on light, so you don't get weighed down. Second is being comfortable, right? And then third is carrying things that you utilize often and a lot, and that they can be quickly assembled. And this will save you cost because you will avoid luggage fees at the airport. So those are my 9 tips. I hope you guys found that helpful, and if you guys enjoyed the video, just remember to leave a comment, or I guess if you have any comments, any tips to save costs when traveling, I would love to hear them in the comments below. Remember to like, and then if you would like to potentially see videos that might be useful to you in the future, then consider subscribing. All these things will help with the algorithm. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.